Offstage, and we have with us for the very first video. We have really special worship leaders over here. I know you've seen them on stage so many times, but today we're going to get to know them a little more better. What's up, guys? Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, so we basically wanted to know something about you guys. You know, we see you every week in, week out, off stage, on stage, and you do so much for Youth Alive. Today we wanted to know what do you do outside Youth Alive as well. Okay, and plus, since you guys are worship leaders, we have a few questions regarding leading worship as well for you guys to answer. The first question I would like to ask is, you know, we've been saved by Jesus Christ, and it's been such a blessing that He came down for us to wash our sins, or is it shins? I don't know, because I do remember Jesus washing our sins, but Glenn, could you elaborate on how He washes our sins?
So what happens is, it's actually a very deep question. I'm glad you asked, because when the Israelites were walking through the Red Sea, God says that it was dry land. But I believe right at the end, there was just a little bit of water, as they were walking out. So that's how they washed their shins as well.
Okay, by the way, if you want to know what the real story is, can someone explain what the story is? Glenn, please go ahead. You know it best.
So as a worship leader, sometimes we tend to get a little over the top and get really excited with certain things. So one mistake that I made was, I was like, are you ready? Because Jesus came to wash our shins away.
Okay, now speaking of all these fails that are happening on stage, what are your fails that happened? I know we just heard Glenn's. I know Rushila has like multiple. You have multiple. So can you just share one each, a fail that happened on stage? It comes to that. Go for it.
I think it was this once during, I think it was the one day marathon thing, where I was so pumped, and I was like, okay, I get to do one of my favorite songs, Jump Around, and I was like, okay, let's start. And I'm ready because I know that the crowd is going to jump. And then I start the song and nobody is jumping. Nobody's jumping. I'm like, okay, first was gone, second was gone, nobody's jumping. I get so frustrated. I'm literally looking at the crowd. I'm like, are your feet stuck to the ground? I was like, I didn't realize till the entire set was done, and I was like, oh God, I think it was the biggest blunder.
Debbie was actually one of the most aggressive worship leaders. She actually put her as a death metal concert. Totally blending. They were like, oh, I stuck to the ground. That was so scary.
I had two fails in one worship set. One was, it was like a very free worship moment, and I had my mic, like I was there, like I was waiting to say what's next, and then I had this really loud hiccup, and I was like, that's so embarrassing. And then the same thing, by the end of the set, the cord of the mic fell off. I didn't even know it fell off, and it was down. Like I didn't realize it was down for like the rest of the worship set.
I remember that happened with me also. Like I remember it was wake, and we were like, wake with it, and I said, wake with it.
No, but I didn't realize my friends, so I just sang without God for like another 2 songs, I think.
It happened with me too when I was singing. I was like, so worship, and then I see the chord like. Many of the times when you're leading worship, you see the crowd, they are like still, right? How does it affect your worship leading?
No, I think you can't feel angry or frustrated, because it's your job as a worship leader to connect with them. So if they are not in the mood to worship, then you have to help them worship. That is like your responsibility. So what I've learned now, after like leading for so many times, is not always going to be where there's this electric moment where like electricity is passing through the crowd and you're like, everyone is on you, you focused on worshipping God. But if they are not, then there are obviously things that you have to do to this. But there's never a thing against the crowd. Like I don't even get irritated with why aren't you connecting with me? It doesn't work that way. That's what I do.
Now, nervousness brings in its own fair share of problems with it. Okay, and one of the main thing that comes with nervousness is going off, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
Going
Yeah.
off or staying on.
And who here hasn't gone off on stage?
Hasn't gone off?
Can you raise your hand if you have gone off on stage? Yes, sorry.
Have gone off.
Have gone off on stage
Yes.
and
I should delete one in the live service because I went off. One part I went so off, I'm like, I should take it down. Take it down. It's not there.
So what sets in? How do you, that moment when you're off on stage? What goes on through your mind now?
How do I come
This is
back?
the last meeting.
What goes on in your mind when you're off on stage? And it happens a lot. I mean, camp was like,
It was a part.
oh my god, that was like so bad. But yeah, what goes on in your mind when you're off on stage?
Well, honestly, I don't think I've ever gone off key, but I've gone off time. I think the click was faster than I picked it up. So the first two words was really slow, and then I like speed up to the next two lines, and I was like, it's so bad. Like I don't hope nobody even realized that. But then what I did is I finished the two lines, and then I just stopped. And then I kind of went into this pre-worship while the clip came back, and I was figuring out the timing, and then I restarted it.
That's very smart.
And that's again, that's what they teach you in Hillsong. Like, for everything has to happen, then
You
it's
should take lessons. This is a professional. Okay?
Yeah, so
It
we
is
are just
professional.
guys.
Okay, please, guys. Okay, but having a presence of mind is also a gift. You need to receive from the Spirit of God, or else you go crazy on stage having right. Another thing is you forget lyrics.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
songs that are written also.
when you forget the lyrics and there is no lyrics available, what do you do?
Take my phone out first and repeat the same thing that you know already. Like, okay, come on, let's do the chorus and then take my phone out, look it up, and then it comes up, and then again do the verse that you forgot.
Get the crowd to
Yeah.
clap.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
I
go to the part you know, like, this is for you.
I sometimes ask the crowd the lyrics. Ask you to know the lyrics.
Have you ever come up with your own lyrics on stage?
Totally.
On stage? When
Yeah.
did it? How did that begin? Can you just elaborate on that?
I forgot for I think Alive and Risen. So Risen I replaced. So what's that line? Running through the fear or something like breaking through the fear. So I sang breaking through the fields or something. And this is like, okay, keep it going in there. Yeah, after that it will.
I think the safest thing I've done is I'll just say, sing it out, and then just step back.
Oh,
Yeah.
So they won't know that it's because you forgot the lyrics. They'll just think that you wanted to sing it out.
that's smart. You guys, you can use
This
this.
is all.
This
yeah.
is like
I'm just gonna make
Please
notes.
keep it on.
Just like, okay, just what is
take
that?
your books and
Like I would say the first two words, and if I don't know the rest, I'll be like, come on, let's sing it out, and just step back. So then let them sing what I'm saying. It's not your hands anymore. And then once you get it, you just come back and join.
Yeah.
So they think we actually gave them the opportunity to sing, but the reality is I just didn't know the next two words.
That's very smart. Please write it down, guys. You can use this. Anyone watching, guys, you are a worship leader. This is direct education from Hillsong. Hillsong City. It's not any
So
cheap.
much cheaper than everything.
I think his songs maybe.
What are the other songs that are so overdone? I have to use the life.
Actually, even though that is like kind of overused or overdone, the thing is the crowd still sings. And that's the song that they always sing. Like they bend out and sing, so you're like, that's the safest thing to go with.
There was a time where it was, so I was on team as a musician. I think it was 6 or 7 weeks continuously when we did What a Beautiful Name.
Yeah.
Like I think 5 weeks it started from the bridge. Yeah. Like continuously 6 or 7 weeks.
I feel
we
like
did
since
it.
I've been back, I haven't heard even one.
Who here hasn't done Beautiful Name? Yeah, you understand now. You did a good job. I mean, getting Beautiful Name out, you did a good job.
That bridge that you wrote.
Oh,
was-
yeah.
God, please.
I just added it to like.
I was like, look, you learned so much from Jessica. Okay, so now we're done with the lyrics part, the songs part of it. Now, as a worship leader, every week after week, as you go on stage, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? What do you want to do in this set? Like, how do you guys go across to the set?
So, I remember this one thing that Surajana had told, like when I asked him when we had like a small, just like a Q&A thing, and then I remember he said that the true worship leader disappears in the second or third song, and that has been on my mind since then. Like every time I get on stage and I just start the list, I'm like, God, you take over. That's it. By the second or third song, everyone is just lost in worship. No looking at the worship leader, no looking at stage, no looking at the musicians. They're just lost. So I really feel that is one thing that's really important.
You were talking about like from a whole list point of view, right? So for me, it's like generally the first two songs are faster. I mean, it's not always that way, but that's generally how we structure it. So the first two songs, you kind of want people to. So someone else, Amit, Rishad is me. People are coming there, and some of them have had a bad week. They've had a bad day. They just thinking about this bad news that they got. So not all of them can come in immediately and lift their hands and say, God, I worship you. So the first two songs, you kind of have to set that precedent to, get them moving, get them involved, get them to smile. It may seem like it's just a cliche thing that we all do just to follow the motions kind of a thing. But those first few kind of break the ice, introduce yourself, introduce them to God, because that's the ultimate thing. But first, you kind of have to be there, you're the spokesperson, and then a little later, you kind of just disappear. It's always a very beautiful thing at the end of services. It doesn't always happen when you just see everyone worshipping, because there are always some people, some services where the front few rows will be worshipping, but the back are still in their own world. But certain times you just feel that heavy anointing, and it's just everyone is just lost in the worship. I think that's the ultimate goal for every service.
Yeah. So there was once when I was again to go to the song. So when we were there was one session where Jag was taking like a worship leading session. So he was telling us like the importance of worship leading. So one of the things he said was he was the one who said about like the first 2-3 minutes being like the most important. So he said 5 minutes is your bracket, nothing more than that. If you've not connected with them in the first 5 minutes, then you've lost them for the rest of the set. And one of the things he said about it was very similar to everybody is not on the same page. Like there are people who come like who are ready to go like all out. Then there are people who are there because they have no other choice. Like that's the safest place for them kind of a thing. So one of the things is you always start from the back and you come forward. So your first focus should be for the people right at the back. And I think another thing is less talking always helps. The more you keep talking and in between every line or between every song, not lines but like between songs or whatever, you're kind of like disconnecting them. And once you see that they're connected, then you should just use minimal words.
That's a very beautiful thing. Talking about Suraj, who do you guys look up to? Okay, I just broke that. That was like such an intense moment. I'm so sorry. It was such a beautiful answer. But as worship leaders, you never start off with the inbuilt technicalities and inbuilt whole thing that I'm going to go on stage and I'm going to be a natural. Very few people are blessed with that, obviously. But yeah, we'd like to know who you guys look up to. Coming through this journey of leading worship all through these years, who was that one person who you looked up to? We'll start with Glenn.
I don't have one. I have like 20.
just narrow down. At least you
Out
find.
of the 20, who's like
So the first person I looked up to was my dad. So my dad, this is a very long story, but basically when he started leading worship, he was very like, if you guys saw him lead worship, you'll see me. This is like, we're very similar. And another person who I actually owe a lot to is Kepler. So we were like a really good friend of mine. So we used to lead worship at this very small church, Auntie Safia's church called Bethel Noon, and it was a majorly Muslim and Hindu crowd that would come. So they wouldn't know the songs and stuff like that. And I remember even to be a backing vocal, I would be so nervous. I would never sing. I would just play the guitar and keep my head down. And he would keep pushing me. He's like, I wanted to lead this song, and I used to run away. I'd be like, I'm not doing that way. Because there was only both of us. And he kept pushing, and then finally one day he just said, I'm shifting to Mumbai, and it was on me. And I freaked out so much. And the first week I led, I was supposed to lead for 30 minutes, I led for 14 minutes. And I was like, please come, I'm done. And Yeah, so from there it was like a very big thing. So those two, and then obviously over here, there are three people that I've seen and I've emulated or I've spoken to them. So one is Amit, Danny, and Suraj. These are the three people that I think out of I think Danny was one person I always wanted to be like. He was very energetic and fun, and I still pick a lot of the songs that he used to do. And yeah, that was my first Sunday as a lead guitarist. He picked that song on a Sunday, and I was just looking. I was like, wow, so cool. And then yeah, obviously Suraj is someone that we all look up to. I think, and any chance I get to pick his brain and ask him about stuff, I do.
Yeah.
I think for me, it will always be Saraka. Like, she is my almost most close to my heart. Like, she's always been my inspiration, right from the minute she gets on stage to the time she gets off stage. She's a total inspiration. Like, no problem. Musicians are not, there, everything is chaotic, no problem. But at that moment, the way heavens come down, it's like, wow. It's like, God is really good. And I've always seen that the way she's done that with so much poise, so much grace. And yeah, she's always been my inspiration. She'll always be. Yes,
For me,
You don't have to tell my name. I'm just thinking.
Suradana, the way he, so I remember this one time, I joined the team then, Sunday I'm on the team and he's singing this song, Hallelujah. And he just walks into the crowd, takes the mic, he just walks into the crowd and everybody is lifting their hands and worshiping. I could really feel the angels sing along with us that day. And yeah, that is something that I as a worship leader always want to do. And he has been my inspiration. And you, Balu, I always see that. No, seriously, you come prepared.
Yes.
Well, they stole my people have no point. But for me, both like Suraj and Sarah has been. I think Sarah was one of the first people I heard leading worship when I first joined the church. Like Sarah and Dan used to lead a lot. And I think a favorite, like not favorite, but like something that I really look up to about Sarah is how she's always so composed. Like she's never, I won't say she's not nervous, but she's never worried. Like, will this go okay? Like, will we make a mistake or will we whatever? And I think just the way she leads people into worship is something that I just like admire. And obviously for me, one of the first things I really like attracts me is when I hear someone's vocals. So vocally, she just like blew my mind when I first heard her.
Okay, speaking about memorable moments, what was your the one, I mean, I know there were many, but one memorable moment out of all the years of worshiping? One. Rushit, you want to start?
Yeah, so one moment was you and me wrote this song, Isaiah, and we just sang it once or twice at Youth Alive. And you remember we went to this Telugu AG camp, and I just start that one line, and they start singing. I just stopped singing after that. I was like, God, you give songs, and you want people to worship you. It's not about who writes it. I was thinking I was not capable of writing a song that great and all that, but when God just spoke that day, saying, I will give you a new song. You sing it for me. Let my name be glorified.
Now that you've, once all these things happen, when you experience the best moment on stage, now you're off stage. Now what do you feel?
I think so. Initially that's the thing. That's your learning curve, where you kind of think it's 50% God, 50% me, and then as you lead more, you realize okay, it could God can just put a mic stand there and there could be no one on stage and it could still happen. So now I realize it's actually just 1% me. So you just kind of you have so I think that's what balances out. If you had an amazing time of worship or maybe it didn't go that well, you're not the factor that you think you are. You just leave it to God and God works in different ways. You don't have to be, we try our best to be perfect, but even if we're not, it's fine. So it's honestly not you. God just uses you for that little bit. Yeah.
Okay, summing it all up, now that you guys are worship leaders at YN, how do you feel, being a worship leader, that anybody else could be in your place, but you are here? How do you feel being a worship leader at YN?
I always remind myself of, the 4 years back, I would say I did not even look at myself being a worship leader. And God just all of a sudden just said, okay, I think you should stop just being there at the back playing the guitar. Start being.
Who prophesied?
Nobody prophesied.
Hey!
I am asking you.
Literally specifically
No, it started with God actually talking to me, and then after that you were there. Thank you for reminding me. There were confirmations like yours a lot after that.
I honestly just feel like I have such a good time because I'm like, because I still feel that I don't know how I'm a worship leader, I am, God somehow chose me. So every time I do it, I'm just like, wow, that was amazing. Like it could be the worst, like could have messed up the lyrics, something could have gone wrong, or maybe the crowd didn't sing like I thought it would, but every time I'm just like, wow, God, thank you so much for that opportunity. That's how I feel every time.
Another thing that is very common among people is that they feel if you're in the worship team or you're a worship leader or you're someone who's volunteering, you're like that class kind of a gang, right? And even I used to feel that whenever I used to come to church. I came for like 6 years before attending youth life at all. Okay, 6 years, just come to church, go back home, and every time I see someone on stage. And then when they are off stage, we are walking among us. I'm like, oh, wow, this is a celebrity. Oh my god! But a lot of people, they feel that they put us in that kind of a bracket, and they feel that we are not approachable. How do you address that kind of
I have something personally to say to everyone because I've heard this from so many people. I am not, like people think I'm actually a very shy person off stage. Like people don't, no one believes me when I say that, but everyone thinks I have like some attitude. I don't. Please come and say hi, wave. I'm very shy, but I will talk to you. Like I'm shy because I don't think anyone knows me. I don't assume that. So I just go up to people like, hi, nice to meet you. So please don't. Like that is my thing. That everyone always thinks that I have an attitude, but I don't. I'm just shy. I'm shy.
For me, so Rachel taught this. Okay, so I remember twice or thrice she made me actually go say hi to new people. So in the start, I would lead worship and just come and stand with Rachel and the gang that I know. Rachel would say, no, go meet that person, go meet that person. So that actually taught me something that I get off stage, it's not like I'm a big person or something. If I find somebody new, go say hi. So smile, go say hi. That will make them also feel approached.
So basically, at the end of the day, most of the worship leaders have a very serious straight face, except obviously Rachel. You have a very serious face, guys. This is a very loud shout out to you. We all have serious faces, and we are very happy to see you. Yeah, and we are very so. We want to meet you. Okay, so please don't feel intimidated by us. And yes, okay. Now that we've got to know so much about you guys, so many things that you've shared about yourselves, about leading worship and all, we are going to test one important skill of yours. Okay, we're going to test one important skill that is songs. How well do you know your songs? Okay, so
can I please quit?
No. Debbie has her own buzzer, and sorry.
Where's the buzzer?
Debbie has her own buzzer. I'm going to read out one line of a song. The first person who squeaks or buzzes. What is it? Buzzes. Okay, I'm sorry. It buzzes. The first person who buzzes gets to answer, no one else, no prompting. Hold on to Jesus. I'll call out the person after that. They answer. I see the stars.
I just buzzed.
No, answer something. You need to answer.
Habrita.
Okay.
Chica,
From the depths, from the heights, I will bring a sacrifice.
Oh, this is a very old song. Not that I remember this.
this song. I'm out. I never heard of this. I think I was not part of a church when they sang it.
Very old brother.
Okay, we give up.
Give up. Okay, it's a give up. It's a give up.
What is it?
From the depths, from the heights, I'll bring a sound.
Lay me down.
Oh wow, okay.
Okay, fine, you get it. Okay, now next one. Okay, we have Jess with 1. Everybody else with a 0. Now, clothed in majesty.
Oh yeah.
Get on the earth, rejoice, all the okay, yes! Obviously, I have to
It's an open heaven.
So no, but heaven.
Give that out.
Deep breath.
Don't I get it?
She answered.
She buzzed.
She didn't even buzz you.
She buzzed. You're the Lord of this nation.
God of the city.
Hey, that's me first. I was first.
You paid my debt, a price I could not pay. Anybody? You paid my debt, a price I could not pay.
That's yours.
Oh,
wow.
How could you
Come
not?
on,
Yes.
Oh my God.
I thought about this.
Take a look around or come test the water.
Is this a better song?
Come test the water sounded better.
Yeah, something better.
It sounds like
Might be. Take a look around or come test the water.
oh!
What sounds Balu?
Let's see.
Oh.
Curse of sin is broken. Come on, guys. Next song. Been apprehended by a spiritual force. Yeah.
Jesus' name.
I knew you were gonna get.
Yeah!
Okay, so now that we've come to know the lyrics, we have one more round.
Oh god, keys.
Now we get to know whether you know the songs. So we're going to play 1 second of the song and you get to decide which song it is. First person to buzz gets to answer. Okay? Here we go. Are you ready?
Oh.
Quick!
I didn't want to come from here. I thought you were playing it.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
I was first. You know what I was first. Yes!
Don't drink also correctly.
You were the one to begin. You did it.
You're the first one to get it at that song.
Yeah, it's seriously like.
That is beautiful name.
Okay.
Your turn.
No, you
Ready, come on!
I was one name itself.
Wait, what was I saying?
Of course.
Okay. One more. Rushil is on 3, Jess is on 2, Glenn is on 2.
Three. I got 10,000.
Ah, 10,000.
Yeah, 10 3. Debbie's on 1.
Come on, Debbie.
Now,
That was a good one.
ready?
I'm not scared.
I buzzed first.
I said it first.
But you're
He was
supposed to
first.
wait.
He
You're supposed
shared
to
my
ask and
We
wait.
don't buzz the lyrics, no?
Oh, no, I got it. Rushil got it for me. Rushil got it.
Purple.
What
Okay.
Five.
So Rushil is leading. Now, this is the last question of this round. Again, it comes to 10 points. Okay.
Spirit breaker.
Yeah.
Out of time, and I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. I hope you enjoyed yourself watching all this. Thank you so much for joining us. As we said before, we are not scary people, and we really would love to talk to you. So if you ever feel like approaching us and talking to us, we're here for you, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. See you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.